Hey, this is AJ with Blackhawk Bushcraft, and I wanted to just post a quick video about using an expended lighter to still get a fire going. So I was on another channel and there was a gentleman that was talking about lighters, and there's a whole lot of back and forth between people about, oh, you know, you need to put a cord or an O-ring under the plunger so that if you have it in your pocket, it won't expend the lighter, blah, 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 whatever. I'm not saying that that is something that you can't do to be preventive from expending your lighter, but I will say in the 30-ish years that I have carried a lighter in my pocket, I've never, ever expended a lighter once in my pocket. Now, I understand that that may not be the case for everybody, but that's been my case, and I don't put anything under the plunger because it's just nothing that's ever been an issue for me. So I think if it's something that you feel that you need to do, if it's your security blanket to put an O-ring or a piece of cord underneath the plunger so that if you have it in your pocket, it won't depress, completely up to you. I'm just saying that it's not something that I really even worry about. Anyways, that got me thinking. I've had this lighter now for probably a couple years. It's just your standard full-size Bic, you know, dirty. It's been a great little lighter. I've lit many fires with it. And anyways, as you can see, this lighter is expended. So I thought it would be interesting to actually see what it would take and how long you would need to depress the plunger to actually expend all the fuel in the lighter. Understanding that this is about 2 years old and probably was still, I don't know, maybe half full of fuel, maybe a little less than half, I'm not exactly sure. But last night we were watching Ford versus Ferrari, and I was like, well, I'm just going to pull out my lighter and I'm just going to depress it and hold it and time myself and see how long it takes to actually expend the lighter. So this is what I did. I just held it down. I turned it upside down. I shook it. I put it up to my ear to make sure that it was giving you that little fizzy sound, which it was. It took almost an hour and 37 minutes to expend the remaining fuel in this lighter by depressing this little button and releasing it and messing around with it. My point is, it's not going to be depressed in a pair of cargo pockets or in a shirt pocket. Unless you're the type of individual that goes bushcrafting in a pair of skinny jeans, you're probably not going to have a problem. That being said, an expended lighter is still something that's useful. Now, I wouldn't recommend carrying one of these as a last-ditch effort. Obviously, if you're going to go out and you have an expended lighter, just go ahead and replace your stupid lighter and get one that's got fuel in it and pack that, and maybe even carry 2 lighters because they're so light and cheap and inexpensive. It doesn't make sense to me to keep this in my gear. But as a training device, when I'm not in the field, or if I ever were to run across the improbable situation that I had an expended lighter with me in the field, you still can use it to start a fire because it has a small piece of ferrocerium that is on the inside that still throws sparks even after all the fuel is expended. So the type of ferrocerium that are in these Bic lighters is the harder type European Swedish style fire stills that I believe come out of Tribacher Industry in Austria. Don't quote me on that, but as I've pulled these apart and looked at them, I'm pretty sure Tribacher sources those. But let me show you. If you have the right tinder, which you should always carry some type of prepared tinder with you in the field. These are just my little do-it-yourselfer cotton pads soaked in paraffin wax and paraffin oil, and they work great. They give an extended burn time of 5 to 7 minutes typically, and you just fluff it out. You don't have to use something like this. You could use petroleum balls if you make your own Rocky Mountain petroleum oysters. You could use these. You could use commercial fire plugs. It really doesn't matter. If you don't have this, you could use things like cattail fluff, dandelion fluff, cottonwood fluff as flash tinder. I mean, you're not going to get a extended burn time on those at all, but pretty much just prepare your tinder as you would if you were going to catch a spark from a ferro rod, understanding that these little ferrocerium flints in these lighters are very small, but as you can see, there's no fuel, and on one strike, that thing lights right up. So even with an expended lighter, you're really not in too shabby of a position if you understand how to prepare your tinder source to catch a spark from such a small flint. Hey, this is AJ with Blackhawk Bushcraft. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. I really appreciate it. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.